From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning here on Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In today's recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why you're likely to get more checks from those Democrats. Then we cut to the recon, your money, deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. I'll go over what these checks are. A lot of checks for a lot of different people, all for you, seniors, workers, everyone across the board. This is not the children's check from third stimulus. These are checks for everyone. Then we cut to the bill, the vote, the dates, and everything you need to know about what happened. This is the final 15 of the final 7, and you're going to see a jammed-packed broadcast of breaking news stuff that happened overnight. Number one, you'll see whether Nancy Pelosi correctly called the cards on Ron Portman. And was Ron Portman holding the cards, or did he fold? Did Ron Portman deliver on his promise that the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, will be called for a vote this week, or did he not? And does Chuck Schumer have a backup plan ready to go? And does that backup plan send out money to us this week? I have all the incredible details in the final 15 of the final 7. Then we cut to the big money across the board. This stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. And that is my SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits. And finally, oh boy, a big announcement. Overnight, one viewer got $22,000 from this channel for rent. The biggest ever payout ever seen on this history of this channel. Eclipsing anything we've ever seen, and now another viewer sending me a DM overnight, $6,000 in utilities. The most enormous numbers we've ever seen. I'm going to show you how you can get this big money as well. It's a big morning. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee's brewing, and those big checks are landing. And this is Mornings LA. Congratulations to that viewer, those two viewers overnight. The one who got $22,000 from my videos for rent, and the other viewer got $6,000 of utilities. Boy, we're going to get to them in a second. But first, how's the weather where you are? It rained here 2 days ago, and today it's arctically cool. I'm loving it. It feels like it is November weather. I'm adoring it. You can certainly see how dark it is on set. I think it's perfect. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, so much breaking news on this morning's broadcast. We'll be going over first the fourth stimulus check, how many checks you're likely to get. Then we go to the deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks that come to the American people. Under this fourth stimulus recon, this is checks for everyone across the board. This is not the third stimulus check with those children. This is everyone, including my seniors and my workers. And then we go to the exciting final 15 of the final 7. This is breaking news you're going to see for the first time on this channel on Mornings. Boy, Nancy Pelosi called the bluff on Ron Portman. Was he holding the cards or was he not when we get to the infrastructure, the roads and bridges, not our money, but the roads and bridges? And if he was not, does Chuck Schumer have a backup plan? And does that backup plan take effect today? Oh boy, it's really, really getting exciting. I have all the deliciousness later in this video. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which is my SSI, SSDI, and VA. Recipients, you were promised this during the campaign trail. The president did not deliver it, but now it's coming under fifth stimulus. Yes, congratulations. I'll go over all the great news across the board. And then we get to the big money that viewers are getting this week. Nisia got to $23,000 across the board with $20,000 of rent. Now a viewer getting $22,000. Viewers are getting $5,000 to $6,000 of SNAP. Now viewers are getting $18,000 for SNAP. And viewers are getting $3,000 of utilities. Now they're getting $6,000 of utilities. I'm going to show you how you get this big money as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, like right now, and taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Mornings Crypto at 9:30, then noontime at 11 a.m. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for yesterday being one of our biggest days on subscriber growth in several weeks. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. Every like helps. It helps in the algorithm rankings. 2, 3, 4,000 likes. Let's do it. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk. Let's do it. It's under the video. Let's get to that monthly stimulus check starting right now. House bill, Senate proposal. Both different approaches, but both monthly. And with the pandemic making a big reversal, which one is better? Let's look at the details starting right now. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year. Senate approach, monthly, but July to December. Let's look at the payouts. House, 1,000 after the first month of 2,000. Senate, monthly unknown. But word on the street is the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. 4 weeks ago, we said, well, maybe the pandemic's over, and the legislators will just give us 1 year of checks, even though the bill is pandemic plus 1 year. 3 weeks ago, we realized the pandemic's not over. 2 weeks ago, we realized the pandemic is certainly not over. 1 week ago, we realized the pandemic is absolutely not over. And this week, we realized the pandemic is far from over. If that's the case, then the House bill would pay more than 12 checks, which would be more from the House than $12,000. As I lost my place on the graphics screen. Somewhere here. Oh, here we go. It would be more than $12,000. Compare that to the Senate and this. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Who gets a fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that if you got a third, you're getting a fourth. Single individual, $75,000 less. Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less. Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, VA, and everyone else, Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check will be the same amount for everyone. Children, adults, veterans, adult dependents, everyone across the board. And the fourth stimulus check is a monthly check, not a waivable check. I learned my lesson, sadly, about that over the weekend. I was at Mitch's Lobster Fest, and I saw him from afar. I walked up to him. I said, "Hi, Senator McConnell. How are you? Nice to see you. I am LA. Hello, LA. I recognize you, even without the purple shirts on." Well, thank you. I wanted to come up and personally say hello to you in person rather than, wave from afar. I'm not a waivable check, LA. And I turned to him and I said, "Well, Mitch, you're not even a monthly check. Get out of here, LA." That was the end of my visit at the Lobster Fest. I did not get to taste the lobster. And there you go. The fourth stimulus check is heating up. And in the second half of this video, we'll be going over the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks coming to the American people. It's done. All they have to do is call the vote. It's $3.5 trillion of checks for you, everyone. This is not the children's check from third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. This is money for seniors, adults, and everyone across the board, including my workers. All the latest details about this incredible payout. What Bernie Sanders says, one of the biggest day in American history. So many checks for so many people. And then in the third part of this video, the final 15 of the final 7, you're going to see breaking news you've never seen before on Mornings LA. There is literally 9,000 things happening in just the last few hours. I'm going to be going over the vote, the dates, the bills, what happened with Ron Portman. Was he holding the cards when Nancy Pelosi called his bluff, or did he fold like a lawn chair? And if he did fold, does Chuck Schumer have a backup plan? And when does that backup plan take effect? It's a lot. It's the final 15 of the final 7. All breaking news you're going to hear for the first time on this morning's LALATE. Stay to the very end. But first, let's get a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. This was promised to you as my recipients during the campaign trail for president. Did not get happening. But finally, it's happening this fall, and I'm so excited for you. But first, let's get some money. Boy, you saw the teaser at the top of this video. The DMs I got overnight, and I forgot to bring their names on set. I thought it was Donald and Amber, but I think I had the names wrong. So I'm going to bring them on set for noontime. The numbers are incredible. If you got a rent from this channel, jump in the live chat right now and post your rent. If you got in Snap, post your chat. Snap. If you got utilities, post it right now. Let's go over what's going on. When I started recording these videos a few weeks ago, I said for rent, I could get you $5,000 to $1,000 for rent. 4 to 6 months of rent. Then Nisi blew it out of the ballpark. She got $20,000 for rent, $23,000 total from this channel. But overnight, that number was eclipsed. One viewer in California got $22,000 for rent. How did he do it? He said he was watching me day in, day out since January. And when California went live with a state-based program. Remember how I talked about it, the different places you reach out to? He reached out to his state. He said it went live. It was not live for very long. He applied and he just got approved. $22,000 for rent. Oh my goodness. Let's turn to utilities. I said I can get you $300 for utilities. Then viewers are getting $3,000 for utilities. The viewer overnight on Instagram sent me a message, got $6,000 of utilities approved because of watching these videos on this channel. My goodness, congratulations. And then the SNAP. I said it was about $5,000 to $6,000 for SNAP. Viewers then came in with bigger numbers. John got $10,000 to $12,000. Then Louis, $18,000 for SNAP. Boy, $22,000 for rent, $6,000 for utilities, $18,000 for SNAP. You're killing it. What's going on here? This is what this channel does. We are here to cash checks, not to track checks. In spring of last year, I launched this channel because people were not getting paid their EIDL loans or grants. No check to track. But I got those loans approved, $25 million of them, and they cashed $25 million of checks because of my videos. Then in fall of 2020, second stimulus was not coming, and there was no check to track, but I got viewers $250,000 of rent. Viewers like Tyrone got $15,000 for his family of 4 out of Boston, paid all his rent all the way to early spring. But now you're doing it again. The only difference is you're killing it on numbers. So get a pen and paper ready. Let's go over all this big money starting right now. You're going to reach out to different places for different eligibility. Each place has different eligibility. And remember, the key words are critical, viewers say, in getting approved. Are you ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, just like that viewer did with the $22,000, and your state housing authority. And the key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like Mitch's fan club. Excuse me? Does that exist? They don't know that. Does it exist? And there you go. Congratulations, Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money. And the next pot of money is SNAP. Yes, John got $10,000 to $12,000. Congratulations, John. And then Louis, $18,000. You're just doing an incredible job, viewers. You're just killing it. What is SNAP? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easy in the stimulus check. Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it as well. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of 4 out of Boston, a family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year now. Wow, why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And congratulations. If you got rent, post it. If you got utilities, post it. If you got SNAP, post it. The next part of the money is the money coming back from your state. And this is absolutely incredible. We're killing with rent and utilities, $15,000, $18,000. We're only 12 minutes of the video. But here comes the next pot of the money. It's the refund check due to overpayment of unemployment benefits and computer error. One viewer got $3,000 for this. One viewer got $5,000. You got this as well. Post in the live chat. Where's it landing? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yeah, call up your state and say, hey, state, where's that check due to overpayment of unemployment benefits? And can you track it with a computer that actually works? And finally, the last wonderful pot of money, it's the refund check coming back from IRS. Boy, Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. It's a lot. And we have an update from IRS about this. If you have not gotten it, there's another wave coming. Yes, it's a waivable check. Sorry, Mitch. The average amount for this wave is $1,265. Direct deposits for this wave start July 14th. Paper checks July 16th, and a new wave starts this week. Now, if you're in the live chat and have not posted your success for rent, utilities, internet, or SNAP, do it. Because every time you do it, you inspire someone else. Here's the example. Last year, when I started doing this, Kevin Lee, one of my original viewers of this channel, saw my video and reached out and saw something on local news in Dallas and watched it and applied. It was literally open for 2 weeks. Got it, and he got his money, saved his home, his business, and everything. And guess what? He did it again weeks later when that program ran out and he got the money and it ran and the benefit period ran out. He applied for another one and got that money as well. It inspires other people to get the money. Number 2, if you're an Art Sullivan who got 3 items, you inspire other people because maybe you got $12,000 for one item. Go get the other items. Art got 3 items. Congratulations, Art. And then it updates us about the numbers. You see how big the numbers are growing. Going from $5,000 for rent to then 10 to then 20 and then 22,000. We see it across the board. So post in the live chat all your success stories right now. This money coming back from unemployment benefits, it's landing in the mailbox, otherwise in direct deposit. How much? Let's say you have $9,000 on unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 in taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit. When? You could do a transcript search, but it will be this month. And go in and do a transcript search. It'll reveal the tax return you filed and the taxes you paid. It'll also reveal stuff you never knew, like stuff you sort of don't want to know. It'll reveal when Mitch was on Star Search and he had that beautiful hairstyle. Was that Amazon hair? And finally, it'll reveal the tax refund check you're getting. And can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part of your fourth stimulus battleground, starting right now, deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks. This is fourth stimulus. It's a done deal. The Democrats have indicated that they have passed on the price tag, $3.5 trillion, that they've agreed that they're going to pass it, done, $3.5 trillion. All they have to do is call the vote and make it a finality. It's incredible, great news. This is exactly what Bernie Sanders says is a historic day in the American society because finally, lots of people are getting lots of checks. How do we get to the spot? We got to the spot because originally the recon was this behemoth that had roads and bridges in there before July 4th, and that was not passable. Democrats said, I'm not going to vote for that thing with roads and bridges in there. It's too big. So they took the roads and bridges out, shrunk the recon, put the roads and bridges into the bipartisan infrastructure, and made it passable. The confirmation comes from a conservative publication that wrote the following this, confirming my reporting. The higher the price tag was on the recon originally, the harder it was for the recon to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, roads and bridges, and put into the bipartisan, it made the recon smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry, Mitch, sorry to set you up. Now, later in this video, you're going to see that the Republicans don't feel set up. They adore the recon. Adore the bipartisan. They adore it. But a certain guy came out of nowhere over the weekend saying, I think you're getting set up. If I can remember to mention about him, I will. It's later in this video. But once they shrunk that recon, the progressives, they were able to add a little more in, and they got it to that perfect, massive price tag, $3.5 trillion, exactly what they wanted. This is what Ilhan Omar had asked for. She got it. We got to have a recon that goes as far as we want. Ilhan Omar, Democrat in Minnesota, progressive wrote, you got it, Elon, $3.5 trillion. And Richie Torres, Democrat, New York, progressive, said, we have to have a larger recon. You got it, $3.5 trillion. Congratulations now. The progressives were meeting with the White House daily to ensure the recon went big and bold enough. They got it, $3.5 trillion. How did they do this? By protecting the recon. Because there was a lot of stuff in there. All checks, all for you, all progressive priorities. And that's what the White House had told the progressives, protect it. It's all our priorities as well. The White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon their own priorities, said Schatz and Jalopal, who were told to protect the recon. And now they got it. So what is a recon? How is it voted upon? What is in there? How do they write it? What are the details? Let me go over all this, starting with the name of the recon. This morning I turned on broadcast media again, and guess what they were talking about? Infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. And they were butchering the story. Not to pat myself on the back. I could not follow them because they were literally confusing the recon with the bipartisan. Recon with the bipartisan. Literally, absolutely as confusing as can be. I give it a C+ in reporting. It was horrible. And it was one of my favorite broadcast channels. So they're just butchering the story. What I want you to know is how to separate the two, because if you tune into something like that, you're going to get confused. I was confused, and I covered the subject matter because they were just doing such a bad job of it. Recon is your money. Roads and bridges is not your money. That's bipartisan. It's easy for me and you on this channel because I only use 2 words. It's confusing when you turn somewhere else because, like, the president uses other words. Recon. What is recon also called? Also called reconciliation. Also called the budget bill. You'll recognize it by its price tag. It's the bigger one, $3.5 trillion. You'll recognize it by the people quoting the article of Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan, not our money. This is roads and bridges, not our money. This is also called infrastructure. You'll recognize it by its price tag, smaller, $1.5 trillion. You'll recognize it by its authors, like a Ron Portman, Mitt Romney, or Kristen Sinema. Okay, so that makes that part easy. Who writes the recon? The recon is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. Who are the actual authors? The House subcommittees are the actual authors, lead authors, with the Senate subcommittees helping them. Under the Constitution, the House subcommittees are delegated different subject matters when writing legislation. In the case of stimulus checks, for example, the House Ways and Means Committee is responsible for writing stimulus checks. They're also responsible for writing unemployment benefits under forced stimulus recon. When each of the subcommittees are done, let's say it's 10 subcommittees and 10 pages, they send their pages up to Chuck. Combine it, and that's 100 pages. And Chuck puts a big bold S on it. S for salty. S for sassy. S for Laverne and Shirley. S for Schumer. No. S for Senate. Yes. And that is your reconciliation. Starts at the Senate side. Certainly not done yet. And the third part of this video, I'm going to go over how it will get modified, even when you see it. But here's what you need to know, is that before that, not bill yet, we have an emoji for that, not bill yet. When it's in the subcommittees, we have no constitutional right to see what they're doing. So they don't have to show us what they're writing, what they're not writing, what they're taking in, what they're taking out, what they're voting in favor, what they're voting against. They don't have to show us. When they show us, they show us. Sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album, doesn't want you to see the tracks until the album's released. No big deal about it. But we don't have the recon, which is why it progressed, which is why mainstream media and I agree. We don't have the recon yet. And when we do, we do. So if you see a naysayer saying, I haven't heard of this in the, guess what? You haven't seen the recon either. Can we top that? We can. As Jalapal wrote Schumer a letter recently saying, Chuck, call the vote. This letter is even more important today than ever before, because guess what? He's calling the vote. It's coming up later in this video. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are upon the 100 plus, yes, 100, who wrote the president a letter before they're saying we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the forced stimulus recon. Boy, can we top that? We can. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee, the one you just went over, yeah, that same subcommittee, wrote the president a letter recently saying we're writing monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. My goodness, we got to keep them to their promise, Purple Power. That's a big promise. They wrote your 3rd stimulus check, and they represent their right in your 5th. Boy, can we top that? We can. As the president got the global minimum corporate tax rate into international treaty agreement, it's now finally law. 5 weeks ago, you saw the president go overseas to have a ceremonial signature, but the actual signature became law just days ago. This is huge for forced stimulus because this thing is confusing. And by it not being in forced stimulus, it's easier to pass forced stimulus. First, easier to write forced stimulus recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to call the vote because this confusing thing is not in there. Easier to vote on the stimulus because this confusing thing ain't in there. And easier to pass the forced stimulus recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Boy, and can we top that? We can. In the final 15 minutes of this video, you are going to see absolute enormous breaking news since overnight. You're going to see twists and turns from Ron Portman to Nancy Pelosi to Chuck Schumer to Jalapal to Mitt Romney. I'm going to make a very complicated situation very easy breezy for you to follow. It is really getting fascinating as Nancy Pelosi called bluff on Ron Portman, and you'll see whether he folded like a lawn chair. It's coming up in the final 15 of the final 7. Everything's breaking news, and it's coming up in just a second. But something more wonderful than that, the volunteers. If you need help with that rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities, and could not find it yourself, always try to do it yourself. But if you couldn't find it yourself, reach out to them. They have your back. They're viewers just like me, and they are located on the community page. Where is that? Open the description of this video. You'll see an emoji of a house. Click the link. It'll send you over to the community page. It's news.la.com/community. It has a picture of some kitty cats lower on the page of the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them, and they'll help you get that rent, that utilities, that mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. And I'll be back with 60 seconds with you with the big finale of the final 15 of the final 7 and 5th stimulus in this video. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the toast is toast and the butter is buttering, and I'm here, you're here, and the excitement continues on this big Mornings LA broadcast. In the final 15 of the final 7, we'll go over the breaking news that's happening this morning. As Ron Portman's cards are called, and you'll see whether he folded like a lawn chair. And then we'll see whether Chuck Schumer's ready to evoke Plan B. It's all heating up on this big morning's broadcast. Also heating up, this stimulus was raising your benefits up this fall, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Mornings Crypto at 9:30. Then we go into noontime at 11 a.m. And boy, details are heating up this fall with fifth stimulus because the president promised us during the campaign trail. He promised this raise of your benefits up lifetime, and he did not deliver. So the Democrats, both Senate and the House, are now taking up the slack and doing it for you. This is in the fall. This is fifth stimulus. And it would start with the legislative effort starting in September, then going to a vote about October, November, the benefits hitting around November, and then the benchmark applying in December. First, they'll raise your benefits limits up. Then they'll remove the asset limits, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over all the details of this incredible relief starting right now. First, they'll raise your benefits up lifetime. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, and multiple beneficiaries. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark is inflation. And this benchmark will likely be applied in December. How high is inflation going? Well, Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill last week that it will be transitory. What is transitory? It means temporary. It means a spike. It means it's going to go up and then come back down. This is great news because this temporary spike is right when they apply your benefits. Oh boy. So how high is that inflation rate going to go? Much of Wall Street and myself are saying 5% inflation. So there you go. Let's go over how this works. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply the benchmark. And if it is 5%, your benefits will step up 5%. Not just next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Then they'll apply, then if the inflation rate is 2% after that, the year after that, you'll be at +2, +5%. It's wonderful news. Then they'll remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on benefits and have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you have room to have some muddled, no, we don't do muddled anything. You have some room for some KC Royals. No, we don't do that either. You'll have room for some blue Crayola crowns and some stimulus checks. Then they're going to move the asset cap, dating back to the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to end. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to do a pair dance. You'll be able to get married and no longer fear loss of benefits. If you've lost benefits, they'll be restored. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And that's fifth stimulus. Boy, now, if you're in the live chat and you notice people that have that purple hawk emoji next to the name and you're wondering how you should become a hawk, how you can become a hawk, it's under the video. It says join here. By becoming a member, you get access to all the big money across the board. When second stimulus was passed, it was a $600 stimulus check. I said, sure, but I'm going to get you $6,000. I got Tyrone $15,000. When third stimulus passed, people said, I want to know where that $14 stimulus check, I want to track it. I said, sure, go track it, but I'm going to get you $14,000 if you're a Purple Hawk. I got the viewer overnight $22,000 for rent. I got Louis $18,000 for Snap. I got Nisi, $23,000. I got Art Sullivan, 3 items. That's what Purple Hawks are, getting the big money. And when forced stimulus becomes law, $3.5 trillion of checks, I'll ensure that I go over all the money for you on how to get it. First come, first serve. Daily, Purple Hawks are delivered from me to them via the YouTube community page. A breakdown of all the money that is in third stimulus for you to get. It's fortunes, it's application based. And now with that, let's cut to the final 15 of the final 7. Starting with right now with the huge breaking news across the board. There's a lot. There's a lot. And let's get to it starting right now. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are now confirmed to the American people in the forced stimulus recon. The recon is a done deal for price tag. That is confirmed by Tim Kaine. When you agree upon the price tag, all you have to do is call the vote. And then they slot the numbers into the provisions. Bernie Sanders went into the meetings asking for $7 trillion. He walked out celebrating at $3.5 trillion. He says it's basically the same amount of money for all the programs he wanted. Historic, he said, just less amount of time. Clearly, that may be half the amount of time because 3.5 is half of 7. He said people are going to get checks that were owed for a long time, checks for all walks of life, 3.5 trillion of them. Now, while we're not supposed to see the recon just yet, I have gotten some of the provisions from the recon released, and here are some of the checks that are part of that $3.5 trillion. And it's checks for everyone, including my seniors and my workers. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, farming checks, closing the digital divide checks. They're going to have free internet for local people. What they're going to do is give fortunes to local cities so that they run their own internet company and give you free internet. Checks for elections, and then checks for clean energy. Here come my checks for my workers first. Checks for workers, checks for independent contractors, checks for collective bargaining, checks for unions, and then come my checks for my seniors. Checks for seniors, checks for lowering eligibility age, checks for dental, checks for vision, checks for hearing aid care as well. Wow. Let's cut over to the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, the infrastructure. So 2 weeks ago, Mitt Romney, Republican senator, said that the vote on the bipartisan would be ready last week or this week. I said it's not going to be last week at the time, and mainstream media agreed with me. So then what happened? Chuck Schumer, Democrat, senator, called a vote last week to end discussion on the bipartisan. I did not expect the vote to pass, but I expected it to work by ramping up and putting fire under people's feet to get it done. It did not pass, but it did work because hours after that, Ron Portman, Republican senator, delivered to Chuck Schumer a letter signed by 11 GOP Republican senators who said, "We're ready to call the vote yesterday on the bipartisan infrastructure." Yes, this is wonderful news, because if Ron Portman's telling the truth, then that means then our money, the recon money, goes for a vote first. If you've been with me over the last few weeks, you remember what Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the president, and John Paul all say. The recon goes for a vote before the bipartisan. So if the bipartisan is really ready, and if Ron Portman is really telling the truth, then the recon goes for a vote first this week. Oh, that's exciting. But over the weekend, going into Saturday, I said to you, when weighing Mitt Romney's assurances versus Ron Portman's assurances, both Republicans, both senators, I put a lot more weight into Mitt Romney. I've covered both individuals a lot over the last year. And when it comes to delivering, Mitt Romney does deliver. He delivers on time, he delivers on substance, he delivers on writing. Ron Portman, however, is a very different person. Ron Portman doesn't leave a good taste in a lot of people's mouths. Why? Because in May of last year, he was the guy who said, as you were losing your home, your business, and everything else, get back to work, you're lazy, I'm cutting off your unemployment benefits. That's Ron Portman. And if you wonder why Ron Portman is suddenly becoming so talked about in the videos in just the last few days, is he suddenly become the self-appointed lead negotiator for the Republicans. He wasn't just a few days ago. So I need to clarify that as well for you. On Sunday, this got very heated. On Sunday, Nancy Pelosi and Ron Portman were both booked for the same talk show on broadcast media. Not at the same time, but in the same episode. Ron Portman doubled down. Good news. He said, I reassure the American people, I am ready to call the vote on the bipartisan. It's ready this coming Monday. Nancy Pelosi in that broadcast called his bluff. Oh boy, Nancy. I love when she does that. She called his bluff. She said, you're not ready. And guess what? We're calling the vote on the recon before you, but you're not ready. So what happened on Friday before even that broadcast. On Friday, a series of publications across the globe said that the Democrats are preparing Plan B. They all agreed why the Democrats are doing a Plan B, but only one publication had this as the Plan B, and I'm going to go over it because I believe the publication is accurate. They all agreed that the Democrats believe they're being set up by Ron Portman, that over the last 15 years have been occasions when the Republicans run out the clock. They say, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. 5 minutes ago, 4 minutes, I'm still ready, I'm ready to vote. 2, 1, oh, time's up, sorry. And when they ran out the clock, the Democrats were left holding nothing. So the Republicans believe that the Democrats believe that Ron Portman's trying to run out the clock on them. So, on Friday, Chuck Schumer had a secret meeting with his Senate Democrats. And allegedly in the meeting, the Senate Democrats were proffered a Plan B by Chuck Schumer. What was the Plan B? That if the Roads and Bridges bipartisan is not ready for a vote, as Ron Portman represents, Democrats will call a vote for the recon. And they agreed, yes. Now, this is totally different than their position a few weeks ago, the Democrats. The Democrats a few weeks ago had some problematic Democrats who said, I'm not going to vote for the recon if the Roads and Bridges is not ready. You have to have them all ready at the same time. Well, according to the article, those problematic Democrats now believe that Ron Portman's trying to run out the clock on them. And by running out the clock on them, those Democrats don't want to be left with nothing. And they don't want to have the history repeat itself. So they are ready, and they have now changed the position and are ready to call the vote on the recon, even if the bipartisan Roads and Bridges is not ready. Whoa, that's huge. Okay, so that was Friday. So what happened late on Monday? Ron Portman's cards were called, and he folded like a lawn chair. He did not have the votes from the GOP ready to pass the Roads and Bridges. Remember, Ron Portman said last week in a letter to Chuck Schumer, I have 11 Republicans ready to vote on it. He appeared on broadcast media on Sunday, said, I have Republicans ready to call vote on it. And when he was ready to call a vote on it, he said he folded, he did not deliver. Now, this channel has never been partisan, but I have to say something right here, and I'm going to say two things. One, I saw some comments during the commercial break, which are clearly partisan people who like Republicans and are really going after Democrats in the live chat. That will not be tolerated. Next, I have to insert something here that happened over the weekend, and it is a partisan event. It's not my partisan reflection, but I have to tell you what happened. Over the weekend, reportedly, President Donald Trump reached out to the Republicans and said, kill the deal. Do not do the infrastructure. Do not do the roads and bridges. We do not know still if that impacted Ron Portman or impacted Mitt Romney, but that is out there. That is reportedly out there. So that is where we are. So with that, Plan B could be taking effect immediately. Plan B, remember, is to call the vote on the recon, our money, if Ron Portman cannot deliver the votes. And at the moment, he did not deliver the votes. Really getting fascinating. So let's now go to the voting process. When we see that recon on the Senate with that S on it, it's not a done deal because Democrats still want to modify it. Doesn't take weeks, doesn't take months, just takes a little bit of a few days. Those Democrats on the Senate side, Democrats on the House side, want to have a bite of the apple and make modifications. This is great news for us. Why? Because when we see that Senate bill, that recon, it may be perfect, no time to celebrate. It may be imperfect, no time to pout. You have to push, because as we have an emoji for this, not law yet. When you have a subcommittee working on legislation, there's only a few people writing that. And a lot of people are not on subcommittees. And so when it lands on the Senate floor, senators are going to say, I want to have a bite of the apple. I want to make changes. And when it goes to the House, guess what? They actually indicated that on Friday. House Democrats said, I want to modify stuff if I want to modify stuff, and I will modify stuff. This is great news for us because if there's something incorrect, imperfect, They can fix it for us. Purple Power has to push down to the finish line. And if something's perfect, no time to be a donut guy and hold up our donut and think everything is perfect across the board. Remember, when we did second stimulus, when we did third stimulus, in those final days, monies go up, monies go down, monies go out, eligibilities change, and things change during the final few minutes. We have to go to Senate floor, then we have to go to the House, then we have to go back to the Senate for a 2-day vote-a-rama. And there you go. Let's recap, because that was a lot. Even for this channel, that was a lot. Let me recap everything. First, recon. Our money, $3.5 trillion, checks for the American people across all subject matters. Done deal. All they have to do is call the vote. The vote would go before the bipartisan. A month ago, problematic Democrats said they would not call the vote on the recon if the roads and bridges was not ready for a vote. That is no longer the case. Yes, reportedly, Chuck Schumer met with those all Democrats, and even the most problematic Democrats think they're being set up by Ron Boardman, trying to run out the clock, and they are ready to default to Plan B, which is call the vote on the recon, even if the roads and bridges is not ready. Ron Boardman said that he was ready to call the vote on the roads and bridges, but reportedly could not do it, and did not have his cards when asked to show his cards. With that, Plan B could be happening. Plan B then would start with the bill on the Senate side. Modifications could happen at the Senate, then it could happen at the House, and then happen back when it goes to the 2-day vote-a-rama. The reconciliation may start as problematic, or it may start as perfect, but along the ways we have to push because it's not law yet. And with that, so much exciting news as we run even to 42 minutes in this broadcast. I'll be next with you at noontime LA with more breaking news. The news cycle is going to get very tight in the next few days, where things change very, very, very quickly. So stay with me throughout the day. Also coming up next is Mornings Crypto at 9:30 as Bitcoin falls overnight. It did not show those legs it initially had. So I'll go over the latest details on Morning's Crypto coming up in just 5 minutes right after this video's over. And with that, have a big, bold, beautiful morning, and subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Join here and become a Purple Hawk so you get all these big sums of money. Congratulations to that viewer who got $22,000 and that other viewer who got $6,000 for utilities. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.